Nina Martinez was just 10 years old when she began walking the echoing marble halls of Harvard University each evening. Her father, Carlos, worked as a janitor there on the night shift, scrubbing floors and emptying trash bins to make ends meet. With no one to care for Nina at home, he often brought her along. She would sit quietly at the back of lecture halls while he worked, her small notebook filled with math puzzles, numbers, and doodles. It was during those quiet hours that she began absorbing the intellectual energy that pulsed through the ivy-covered walls. She was especially drawn to mathematics. Though she'd never been formally taught beyond her grade level, Nina instinctively understood patterns, logic, and problem-solving. Her mind played with numbers the way other kids played with toys. One evening, she slipped into the back of Lecture Hall B while a renowned professor, Dr. Whitaker, was deep into a post-class chalkboard session. He was writing an equation with furious energy, the board a mess of symbols and formulas. Nina's eyes scanned the board, and something clicked. Something looked wrong. She raised her hand timidly, almost afraid of her own impulse. Whitaker, surprised, turned and squinted at her. "Yes, are you lost?" he asked, clearly annoyed. "No, sir," she replied. "I think the last line has a mistake." There was a pause. The other grad students in the room looked at each other, barely stifling their smirks. "You think there's a mistake?" Whitaker repeated. He gestured to the board mockingly. "Why don't you enlighten us?" Nina stepped forward slowly. Her hands trembled slightly, but she held the marker like it belonged there. She crossed out a symbol, rewrote a line, and stepped back. The correction was precise. The grad students stared. Whitaker's smile faded. He stared at the board, then at her, stunned into silence. "Who are you?" he finally asked. "I'm just with my dad," she said. "He's the janitor." Carlos, having walked in just in time, stood frozen in the doorway, watching his daughter with pride and disbelief. He'd always known Nina was different, brilliant in a way he couldn't fully understand, but seeing her correct a Harvard professor confirmed it. Whitaker, clearly rattled, managed a stiff nod. "Go on. Then, help your father clean." Nina returned to her seat, but her world had shifted. That night, Carlos took a broken old laptop from the lost and found bin, hoping it might still work. It did, barely. Nina used it to dive deeper into mathematics online courses, YouTube, lectures, open-source textbooks. She absorbed it all with a hunger that never tired. And though no one at Harvard noticed at first, a storm was building quiet and brilliant. Nina wasn't just visiting those halls anymore. She was preparing to own them. 3 years later, Nina was no longer just the janitor's daughter sitting in the back of the lecture hall. At 13, she had become an unofficial fixture in the math department. Professors began recognizing her, some even allowing her to attend seminars quietly. Her notebooks were now filled with complex theorems and original problem sets that left some graduate students scratching their heads. Despite her young age, her work had started catching the attention of a few faculty members, everyone except Dr. Whitaker, who remained dismissive and cold. Everything changed during the annual Harvard Math Symposium, a prestigious event where top students and professors presented solutions to some of the world's most difficult unsolved problems. Carlos had stopped by with Nina just to drop off some cleaning supplies when she noticed a familiar whiteboard in the main hall. It was covered in a problem she had seen before, an advanced proof that Whitaker had been obsessing over for years. He was preparing to present it in front of the full symposium audience, and though brilliant, the final step remained incomplete. Nina approached the board slowly. A few students and staff looked on, curious. She studied the equations carefully, then picked up a marker without saying a word. Her hands moved methodically, almost like muscle memory, drawing symbols and lines with effortless clarity. The whispers started almost instantly. Whitaker returned from getting his notes and froze mid-step when he saw her at the board. "Get away from there," he barked. But it was too late. Nina stepped aside, revealing a complete and correct solution. Silence followed. Then a low murmur of astonishment swept through the room. Dr. Levinson, a senior professor and Whitaker's rival, examined the board up close. "My God, it's perfect," he murmured. Elegant, simple, and complete. Cameras flashed. Students recorded. Whitaker's face went pale. He looked at Nina, not with mockery this time, but something closer to fear. Asterisk, one of the organizers, approached Carlos and Nina. "Who is she?" they asked. "She's the janitor's daughter," Carlos replied proudly. But not for long. News of her solution spread across the campus like wildfire. By the end of the week, the dean had personally invited Nina and her father for a meeting. Scholarships, mentorship programs, and a formal enrollment pathway were offered to Nina on the spot. Asterisk, Dr. Whitaker was notably absent from that meeting. Asterisk. Nina's journey didn't end at the symposium, it began there. Within 2 years, she was published in major academic journals. Professors who once ignored her now consulted her. And Carlos, the janitor who once pushed his cart through those hallowed halls, now walked beside his daughter as she lectured in them. Asterisk, she had touched the whiteboard, yes, but in doing so, she had redrawn the lines of expectation, class, and brilliance forever. Asterisk.